What's up, entertainers, performers, comedians, acting community out there? It's such a blast that you guys are joining the channel once again. This is Lorenzo from the COACHMC studio, and today we're talking about one of the essentials of a great acting performance. Because acting is reacting. And how can we react truthfully? By actively listening to what the other character in the scene has to say. And how can we achieve that? Like actively and truthfully listening to someone else. Well, there are some tips I can share with you. There are some exercises that you can do right away after this video is done. And before we enter the realms of creativity and craziness, please make sure to subscribe to our channel. That makes the whole thing a worthy endeavor. And also smash the like button right away. In this video, we will share some amazing information that will definitely help you to boost through 2022 in a completely different way, to be ahead of your competitors, but really understanding what's going on whenever we're reading and whenever we are listening. So, acting is reacting. Let's see what's cooking. I'm sorry, are you listening? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Yes, because it is super important to listen. If acting is reacting, how can we truthfully react then? How is that marvelous interpretation possible to react in a spontaneous and natural and genuine way? By listening closely to what our counterpart has to say in the scene, to what the casting director has to say, to what the director has to say. If we are truthfully listening, if we are truly paying attention to what somebody else has to say, then our reaction is spontaneous, natural, organic, and therefore, most of the times, kind of unexpected, surprising, interesting to see, compelling, and truthful, right? It means that the character lives in the moment. Is there something any more beautiful for a character to be present in the moment? And check it out. Moment and present, they're both linked with each other, right? It's this little particle called ENT. It makes things anchored in the now. If you enter a room, ENT, you enter a space, you get in there in the moment right now. You're not thinking about yesterday and your regrets. You're not worrying about the future, because one thing is for sure. The first and probably the biggest reason, because you are not listening to somebody else, because your ego is so occupied with the idea of what he has done wrong and what will be in the future, what will happen next, right? He's not focused in the now, because our beautiful ego is overvaluing the moment next more than the moment now. The moment that happens in this very instant is way more important than the moment that is about to happen. We overvalue the future way more than what we're doing currently. That's why politics, they're always talking about change, right? And also, most of the times, commercials, they talk about, oh, this product will change everything, right? Or even banks and financial institutes, they're talking about the change because it's an exchange, right? Because it's the future. They always want you to believe that the future is better than the present, but it's not true. The present is the most beautiful gift of them all. That's why it's called present. Makes sense, right? Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called present. Kung Fu Panda. And that's such a truthful line, because it reflects completely what the ego is about. The ego overvalues the next moment than the current moment. And you have to set that back. You have to put the priorities back into the roster. Where do they belong? Where do they have to be? Because now is the time to act. You're not acting tomorrow. So one great way of listening is also to certify for yourself. And you need to rehearse that. You need to train that. You need to exercise that. Because it's not an easy task to do. Because everybody, everything on a constant level wants you to be distracted. Commercials, they want you to pay attention to the commercials. Movies, they want you to pay attention to the movies. Games, they want you to pay attention to the games. Cell phones want to... You see where I'm going with this, right? Everybody is kind of soaking energy and focus and concentration away from us, because everybody needs his little attention. Our dopamine, right? It wants to be injected all the time. So we're always craving for something new, for a great kick, for the next big thing, for the moment after the moment, right? But once we arrived, we realized that the most important thing is to be right now, right here, in this very moment, present and conscious about what we are saying and what we are hearing. Because if we are truthfully listening, then the reaction is no problem. We don't have to worry about techniques and skills and our exercises and all that, because we are doing it right now. We are living it. That's why it's called imaginary life. It's life. It's happening right now. Life doesn't happen in the future. That's only your thought that is taking you away. It's wandering around. It's distracting you. So the importance of paying attention to what the counterpart has to say as an actor is vital. It's one of the greatest and most beautiful tools that you can ever put into action to magnify your abilities. As an actor, to stand out in front of the camera, if you're really listening, then your eyes, right, the gateway to your soul, the portal to your inner self, they will exactly tell to the audience that they are there with them in this very moment, that they are not wandering around. When somebody's just artificially listening, you can tell that his eyes, they're constantly looking at someone, but actually they're not really assuming, they're not really absorbing any information, they're not really reading the facial expressions of the counterpart, they're not really trying to understand what's going on behind the words. They're just artificially staring at some point. You can tell that they are empty because in the back of the head of the actor something completely else is going on, and obviously that actor or that actress is paying more attention to the background voices, to the active voice in front of him or in front of her. And that's a shame, because by doing so we are wasting a lot of our potential, a lot of our energy, right? Where our focus goes, that's where our energy flows. So if we are focusing on something, that's where we're directing our energy to. And now it gets interesting, because there is a clash of forces. If we are going inward with our energy, but our voice happens outward, then it's kind of detached from the actual meaning. And we won't pay attention and won't react as truthful as going forward all the time and deflecting and switching and putting our attention outward instead of inward, especially when we're acting, especially when we're playing. And there are certain reasons to do that, to just artificially listen to a person. Because human beings, even if we're actors, we do feel uncomfortable sometimes by just looking at somebody all the time, right? You know, we're avoiding the eye contact. Sometimes we look somewhere else, but whenever you start to look somewhere else, your energy drops, you're out of focus, you're out of the lens, you're out of the camera. So sometimes we avoid of looking actively because we are afraid of impacting the other eye contact, right? Of keeping that steady, sometimes uncomfortable pose to really kind of just open the eyes and absorb the information. And being there in that very moment can feel at times kind of uncomfortable and kind of, you know, sometimes a bit strange, especially when we're starting off as actors. At the beginning, it's kind of weird. Everybody's looking at you and staring at you and talking to you. And it feels kind of uncomfortable. It's like, hey, what does this guy want from me, right? But this is where the magic happens. You need to withstand that impact. You need to kind of make sure to put some exercises into place, into action that will allow you to have more self-esteem and feel more comfortable whenever you have that eye contact with somebody that is playing with you, right? And now with having a truthful and sincere eye contact that doesn't feel uncomfortable, where you're not escaping and not listening to your inner voices, but totally focused and shifting your attention outward to the counterpart, now all of a sudden there is a natural exchange. Now things are starting to evolve and unroll and start getting serious, and they are happening. All of a sudden it's spontaneously happening, because between one spark and the other spark, things are illuminating and igniting the room, and now it's vivid, it's calm, it's sincere, it's alive. Now it makes fun for an audience to watch the interaction, instead of just seeing an actor who maybe talks and does the action and the other actor just waits for his line and he's just nodding artificially in an absent way. Again, ENT, absent and present. You see, both dualities are in the same particle. How interesting that is, right? I love to dissect words, right? I always say that to everybody out there in my videos, to my clients, to my students, check out one of my Memorize the Lines video where I emphasize on the importance of particles whenever it comes down to memorizing the lines, the script or monologues, because through the particle you can understand so much about the true meaning of the word and how it's kind of associated and connected to other words, and plus you can learn them way quicker by just absorbing the cluster of the particle instead of learning this, the single word. But hey, check out the video to do that. But anyways, I love to dissect words because words, they can tell us so much about what the true intention of that sound, of that word actually is. And by doing so, you get way more grip. You get further and faster with the word by understanding fully what the word is about than your competitors. Because most of the times we're lazy, we don't have that much time, there's so much to do, we're running all over the town. So you might say there is not much time to do like deep research and all that. But if that is part of your ritual, of your habit of just doing the great work and just analyzing words whenever they impact you, and to really understand and grasp what they are about, then you will do this like on a continuous level. It's not that you take your time off to do that. It's just part of your exercise, part of your ritual, part of your procedure, of your training, how you prepare yourself for the imaginary life, for the character that you have to audition for. So look at the word present, for instance, because being present, being in the moment is that gift that I'm talking about, to really actively listening to somebody. Are you listening, guys? Let me know in the comment section below if you are truly listening in this very instant, in this very moment right now, currently absorbing my current, my electricity, my information, and reflecting and really processing that information. Let me know if you're doing that. It would be a great way to kind of exchange and to get to know each other a bit better, because I think it's so important to connect and really understand what this craft is about. And by the way, if you haven't so far, and if you've watched this video so far and you are not subscribed, then please, by all means, do that. It helps us so much, right? It helps us a lot to kind of support this channel, our activity, and our research. Thanks so much, by the way, for subscribing right now. After commenting, of course. Let's get back to business. So when you dissect words, and by understanding them better, let's say present. Present has a lot to do with moment, with being here, right? It means also, if you study the particle ENT, you got ENT integrated in so many interesting words like scent, like tent, like vent, like rent, like ascent, like crescent, right? And they all mean something. They have like an associated, connected meaning. And that makes it easier for you whenever you are hearing that word again to kind of immediately connect that word with an emotional anchor. And now you are actively listening, because now you know it sparks, it triggers something inside of your system because you studied that word, that particle maybe even beforehand. And now, boom, I got a connection with what the other character is saying. Does that make sense? So study the words before and dissect them like meticulously. Be obsessed about the words and their meanings, because actively listening to what the other person has to say is also actively knowing what the other person is saying and what the hell is he talking about, right? If you know all the words, you know what the other person is talking about. So listening isn't that hard anymore. When the other person in the scene is constantly saying something that you don't know anything about, when the other character in the scene is using words that you don't have any idea about what they actually mean, then it's harder to stay focused and concentrated. To be in the moment means to be fully aware of what the other person is saying. So listen to what the other character is saying and react to that spontaneously, because you got an opinion, you got a tendency, you got an aspect, you got something that you want to add. There is something coming up in your lines, not just artificially waiting till the line of the counterpart is over, till the casting director has finished the sentence and then reply to that. Maybe jump in, maybe start already kind of grasping the line and start kind of touching the line before the line actually starts, so you already are warmed up, so you already have a notion of where this is emotionally driving you. So this is all organically, spontaneously happening, and not just, all right, now it's my turn. Now I can say something and add an emotion to it, and then I wait again until it's my turn, right? I'm over accenturizing right now, but you get the feeling, right? You get the notion of what I'm trying to say. So listening, when it comes down to truthful acting, to great acting, to a remarkable performance, and it's also very handy when it comes down to talking to the relevant players in our business, to really listening to what they're saying. That can help you a lot also to boost your career. But how can we achieve all that? Are there any methods? Are there any instruments, any skills, any tips that I can give you to kind of train that and exercise that? Because listening is a muscle. Like acting, like doing anything else, it is just based on muscle memory as well, right? Through the repetition, you will get better also at listening, because let's face it, it is quite hard nowadays to kind of pay attention to someone more than 3 minutes, right? No, because let's face it, it's pretty hard nowadays to listen to people, because everybody wants our attention, right? Media wants our attention, commercials, they want our attention, politics, they want our attention, our school, our environment, our business, everybody needs our attention. Everybody wants something from us, right? And they're using some darn good methods to kind of grasp our attention, to get hold of our attention, right? To catch us off guard, and then bada boom, we are catapulted into another life, into a commercial, into a movie, without us even wanting that, because we're now paying attention because their methods are great. So it's hard to stay focused. It's hard to stay on track. And then, we have our chores, we have our, daily routines. And then all of a sudden we have to jump into the casting director's office, and we need to be super alert and super attentive and not distracted and all that. How can we achieve that? It is pretty hard, right? And so one of my greatest exercises I recommend before you go to an important audition, and when you are doing the audition prep and all that, when you're getting ready to immerse yourself into the other character, put your phone away for as much as you can, for as many hours as you can. This is pretty contemporary and pretty actual, because our phones, yes, they are useful. There is a lot that you can do with your phones. There is a lot of space that you can conquer out there, and many things that can be made easier through your smartphone, but it's also a very distracting device. Not so much because of you yourself, but because of your muscle memory, because your muscle memory remembers to grab your iPhone, to unlock it and just, look for emails, or just, jump to any social media account you might entertain and all that. Even though it's not necessary, you're not searching for anything particular, even though it might not be important, you're just doing it because it's a memory, it's a habit, you're just doing it. So don't do it, right? Don't follow down that habit. Just stay alert. And every time you feel the urge of grabbing your cell phone or opening up your MacBook without any reason, just don't do it. Resist. Make this thing clear to yourself. Make it conscious, right? Just put your phone away whenever you're facing a very important audition. There is one thing about the purity of the character that nowadays is in threat and in danger and great peril because of all the distractions out there, because of our cell phone as well. Because our character needs to be pure. It needs to vibrate. Your character needs to be completely absorbed by your feelings, by your emotions, by all this passion that is boiling up inside of yourself. Your fire bundle needs to burn just for your character, nothing else. So more and more bundles and branches you kind of take away from that initial fire bundle, because you need to focus on other things, and more branches you take away, the smaller and smaller that fire bundle becomes, and the less heat it will produce. And as a result of that, your energy, your attention that you're paying to the character becomes less and less important to your brain, and so your focus won't be 100%. And once then you get to the casting director's office, you will see you have kind of your thing going on with the focus. The real focus is not being over attentive. The real focus is the concentration doesn't come from being all over the place, right? Like a crazy rabbit. It's being there naturally and relaxed and calmly, and you can only achieve that by really being there in this very instant and not being distracted by anything else. And a great help to do that, to achieve that, is to put your phone away for a couple of days whenever you're facing a very important audition, because your phone takes away your attention. It fires up a lot of different ideas and images into your brain, and your brain subconsciously continues working on those images, on those pictures, on those photos, on those really not important informations, instead of focusing on your role, on the patterns, on the details, on all the movements you wanted to perform and to exhibit, and all the things you wanted to kind of insert there. So put your phone away. going into a bar nowadays, into a restaurant, or even like being with your friends around a table having dinner. You know, look around. How many people do have, you know, their phones out? How many people are checking their emails or their social media accounts instead of being there? And you're just talking to them, and it's like, yeah, and they're pretending to do something very important on their phones. I mean, it happens to all of us, right? It is totally like normal, I would say, even if it's sad to a certain extent. If you think about the serious friends, it wouldn't be possible to shoot the serious friends today, because today nobody's talking to each other in a coffee place anymore. Like 6 people on a couch just exchanging gossip, that wouldn't be even possible today, because everybody's just staring at his phone. There would be just one Ross or one Chandler at a time, just saying something, and then eventually somebody would drop like a response or, you know, nod or anything else. There wouldn't be like an entertaining series anymore called Friends if you would try to shoot this product nowadays. It's kind of necessary to be aware of the fact that your focus, your attention, your energy is going where your focus is. And if your energy, if your focus is always, you know, with some collateral, artificial and not interesting news, and you get the idea, right? So put your phone away. Just stay with the role. Try to focus on that core, on that presence, on your audition prep, on what the character needs to say, and try not to be distracted. And exercise the look of not feeling uncomfortable, of meeting your eyes in the mirror and saying the lines to you, and trying to have that steady and relaxed look, that eye contact that is feeling like an exchange and not just meeting someone and then trying to block him out because you're listening to your inner voices. Now you're there with him, with the counterpart. You're open to suggestions, right? Where is this going? Let's go. Let's have a great and fun ride. This is only possible if you're actively listening. A great exercise for that is also writing, right? If you write down a journal, if you write down what your character is about, if you write down thoughts, actions, experiences, write down some reflections about your last audition, about what should happen in the next audition. Writing is a great way of reflecting with yourself. It calms down your nerves, and you're listening to your inner voice. You're listening to what you are writing down. You're listening to another speech, and that is a great way of calming yourself down, of getting into the mood, and also listening, being in the moment. You're writing, reading, absorbing, reflecting, and again writing. You're just there, not distracted. You are actively doing something in this very instant. Writing is a very, very good method to achieve that moment experience, right? And being in that present, in company with yourself, and not feeling uncomfortable with it at all, right? Quite the opposite, feeling comfortable. This is the greatest tool of them all, just being there and actively absorbing what the counterpart has to say and take it in, right? And leave your ego out of the game. And now it's all about reacting and setting the chain reaction off. And let's see where this takes us. Even a small scene with a small part, you just got a couple of days on set. If you're always actively listening and reacting, you will see your performance, even if it's for a couple of days, will stand out because it's truthful. Because it shows what kind of, you know, actor or actress you are, what you're capable of. Because now you're letting everything on the table. You're showing what you got. It's called show business for a reason, right? And listening, actively listening, is a great part of show business. Believe me, whether it's on or off stage. Another great way of exercising that skill, that muscle memory of actively listening and being in the moment is reading. Reading, of course, is like listening to your inner voice, reading something out loud that happens in the book, right? And the author is going on with the story. So you're listening to the author and you're listening to yourself. And you're evolving the story in front of your inner eye, the eye of the beholder. And now the story becomes three-dimensional and you are in the moment following the scripture, following the character, following the narrative. And that's so important because, again, it calms down your nerves, it calms down your breathing patterns, it gives you the ability of exercising concentration over a longer period of time, because it's not just about reading a page maybe or 15 pages, it's about reading the book, understanding the scripture, understanding the screenplay. So that exercise is also great to extend your attention span, to really pay attention to the details, to focus on the little things and putting them together while you're following the story. So you're not concerned about your inner voices, but about creating the world, the creature that is evolving and how it's moving and what the creature is doing, how this creature smells, what the creature does. That's the beautiful part of our creativity, right? And reading gives us a great boost, a great supplement to really enrichen this product, to understand how our craft can evolve even more. So it gives us also a nice insight about how we stand, what kind of attitude we have when we're listening to something or reading something. And it gives us a great way also to express, like when we are performing that attitude, that tendency, when it's time to, unroll this beautiful audition, then we understand, oh, this is how it changes. From the motion of reading and then putting it into action, there is the world between, and the world is you. The world is how you process the information, how you understand what it's written. If you truly understand what the author is saying by dissecting the words, by calming yourself down, by putting your phone away, by calming down your breathing patterns, by having maybe a little journal on the side where taking notes about certain words or certain aspects of the story or of the book, when you're doing all this, exercising this all at the same time, you realize, now I see myself as a conduit of information. Instead of just replicating the lines, I see myself as sort of as a filter, right? The information goes through me and then it gets processed. Something happens with that information. It gets enriched by my system. The more I read, the more I know, the more I am focused, the more I can enrich in that information and give it out with more impact. And all of a sudden, wow, now I have a stream of information and of actions. And guess what will happen if that all comes together fluently and nicely and flawlessly? I will create a connection with my counterpart. I will create a connection with the audience because I'm actively listening and giving back, and listening, reacting and giving back. Now all of a sudden I created that bond, that connection, that straight vector that I'm always talking about. You need to focus from heart to heart, from centerline to centerline, from mouth to ear, because we are reading by listening. We are reading the lips, we are reading the expressions, but then we're also listening to what the words are saying, and now all of a sudden we combine it, we put them together in our brain, and now we know what the other character actually means. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comment section below. You know where it is. Type something in. When we're creating that connection with the other counterpart that is right now present with us in this very moment, we are pulling that person into our world. But also by actively listening, we are allowing ourselves to fall into the world of the counterpart as well. That means that now we're not closing down. Because sometimes I see actors closing down. They're playing out of their plateau, right? They're playing out of their ego. They're playing out of their emperor seat instead of climbing down that ladder and getting their hands dirty in the everyday action where the actual fun is happening, right? We need to kind of do that. We need to make our hands dirty. We need to be in the process. We can't prophesize from the mountain. It's not the Bible. It's acting. The Bible is the greatest story ever told. But when we're talking about acting, we need to entertain with something that happens in the moment. You can't be so obsessed about what the past has told us, and we can't worry about what the future might bring us. We need to deal with what is happening right now. Present means also enter. You enter a room. You enter the space right now. You're not exiting. You're entering. You're here. Nowhere else. This is what matters in this very instant. So this is a great way to exercise it also, reading. Because by reading you understand the flow, where it comes from, what happens with you in the process, and what you're giving out. And this constant movement based on these three columns, by understanding it more and more and more, it gives you the ability to internalize the process, but being also actively present to whatever inspiration might come up from the counterpart. In the first couple of months, usually in drama school and acting school, You do a lot of exercises where it's just reacting and trusting the other fellow colleagues and the other fellow students, right? You're just reacting to what they're doing. Maybe they're screaming out loud, you need to scream out loud. Maybe they whistle, then you whistle. Maybe they whisper, then you have to whisper. Maybe they're depressed, so you need to get in the same mood. You're always reacting. There are certain games, ball games also, they are throwing the ball while they're saying something. You have to catch the ball and throw it back while you're saying something else, right? And that exchange of balls and movement and emotions, that needs to make sense and needs to be coherent and cohesive. In drama school, you do all these types of experiences and exercises, and they're a great way to exemplify what I'm actually talking about, because actually it comes down to that, right? Don't hold the ball for yourself. Once you receive the ball by your counterpart, by the other reader, by the casting director, immediately throw it back with the next idea. And jump into darkness if you don't have a great idea in that very moment. Just surprise yourself, then you surprise others, like I always say. Another great way to exercise that is really to have the conscience at home. You can do this right away when you're exercising, like when you're getting into the room, when you're entering the room, when you are making yourself acquainted with the room, right? You're spreading your appearance, you're illuminating the space around you, right? You get connected with the environment. When you're doing that, it's try to make everything that you do as active and conscious as possible. You're not just walking to the chair and, taking a seat. Make that conscious. Make that conscious in a way that, like, okay, now I'm walking to the chair. Nothing else interests me in this very instant. Then I sit down. I do that consciously, and nothing else interests me. Then I look at my counterpart in the scene, right? I look at the other character in the scene, and I'm just concentrating on looking and nothing else. I'm not thinking about my lines. And then I'm probably waiting for a couple of seconds to create some sort of emotional anchor the moment before where I'm coming from. And then I'm saying whatever I'm saying. And I'm not just saying it to drop the line, but I'm saying because I need a reaction, because I want to see a reaction, because I expect a surprise, something, right? Something unexpected. I'm always aware of something that could come up. Don't be so comfortable when you say the lines, and be present in the moment. That's how you actively listen, because you're really interested and curious. And do this exercise over and over again. And once you get acquainted and you're doing this more and more actively and consciously, then you can add something interesting, like have questions about what you're doing. Like, what am I doing right now? Okay, I'm walking to the chair. What am I doing right now? Okay, I'm sitting down. I'm taking a seat. Okay, what am I doing right now? I'm listening to him or to her. And what is she really saying? Because usually what happens to us when we're nervous in the casting director's office is we're listening to our inner voices instead of listening to the counterpart, because we are worrying about what we did in the past, like what our ego is always loving to do, right? Oh, did I deliver my line properly? Was I saying what I was intended to say, what I was supposed to say? Oh, I missed out on my beat. Oh, damn, I wanted to perform that action. Oh, I thought about something that I wanted to insert here. What did the casting director say about this line? Did he say that I had to change my attitude? No, that was, oh God, yes, now I forgot the next move. And so you're always kind of behind. You're not actively in the moment, right? Because you're always worrying about certain things. You are listening to your inner voices. You need to shift your attention outward. Ask yourself, like, what is he saying? And then really listen. Oh, he said that with a bad intention, didn't he? That was kind of ironic. That was, oh, interesting. Now I'm getting where he's going with that. Okay, let me reply to that. Okay, now let's see what's happening next. Usually what we're doing, we are too fast. I'm too fast. I'm always rushing, right? There's somebody in this room who's always reminding me that I need to calm the fuck down. You have your own speed. Let me just make this very clear. You have your own speed. Don't worry about rushing or being faster or being as fast as somebody else in the room, right? You have your own speed. People have the tendency to get acquainted with the speed of someone else because, oh, okay, I feel comfortable. I can join his speed. You don't have to. Just be comfortable with your speed, with your velocity, with your rhythm, with how you want to evolve as the character in that scene. You don't have to rush. You don't have to speed up. Sometimes things are slower for you as the character because things are happening very fast outside. In the real world, everybody is rushing. Everybody is pressurizing. Everybody is pressuring you. Everybody's stressing you out. So you want to be fast in the audition room as well. You don't need to. Sometimes it helps to emphasize what the character is trying to achieve, and then by all means, then maybe you speed up a little and you deliver it quite rhythmically, or you kind of arrange something nice. But then again, when you're coming back to just being the character and just listening to what the counterpart has to say, make it at your own speed. Focus on what he's saying or what the other actors is saying, and not on delivering on time. Again, don't be so obsessed about what the future might bring, and don't worry about what you kind of did wrong in the past. Just be there in this very moment, in this very instant, and trust your rhythm. By all means, you have your rhythm. You have your way of delivery. This is also a great way of actively training that, because usually we want to get over with things fast. But when you realize that you have a certain rhythm, a certain pattern, a certain speed, and you adapt to your way, to your speed, to your velocity, you will see that it's easier for you also to pay attention to what the other character needs to say and has to say, because it's just flawlessly exchanging, nothing else. The Buddhists and the Stoics, who are always referring to the present moment as the moment of God, of the moment of creation. Everything is evolving right now, and you can change the past, you can predict the future, but what you can control is how you react to certain aspects in this very instant, in this very moment. So as if they knew what our problem in the future will be, they already foreseen that and already gave us a very important key to handle this, to kind of manage the situation a bit more calmly and in a more sovereign way, and not running behind and not running late, but being just there where you need to be and feeling comfortably and totally perfectly fine about that and not worrying too much. Another great way of exercising that skill of actively listening to someone in the scene is to recite a tone, recite a mantra, recite something that you repeat all the time. And then sometimes you make it slower, and sometimes you speed up, and sometimes again you make it slower. You change the rhythm, you change your pace a little bit, and you realize how the words change, the sound changes a little bit, and you're really paying attention to what impacts you more, what has more intention, more purpose, and more importance to you while you're saying it in different ways. So you realize how heavy this luggage is, this baggage actually is, and that also gives you the ability to kind of let go of that baggage, of that luggage, and really just being there with the other character. Because once you drop your luggage, it's your counterpart's turn to drop his luggage. He might be interested in something completely else than you in the scene, and you need to kind of follow through on that. So be conscious throughout all these processes, and sit down with yourself and realize how beautiful and how great your impact will be, and how much better your performance will be when you train that and you get better at actively listening, at being in the moment, of not judging what you just did, of not worrying about what comes up, but just listening and reacting to that. Because acting is all about reacting. It's about connecting and reacting to what the connection is giving you. What is the information here? What are we dealing? What is really going on between these two characters? Isn't there anything more beautiful? I don't really think so. And this is such a fundamental and super powerful tool for any great actor, to actively listening to what's going on. So there's a bonus tip for you guys at the end of this very long video that was intended to be slightly shorter. But hey, that's sometimes the way it goes. So I hope you listened the way through, and you're now ready for this last ultimate great bonus tip. There is this book by Eckhart Tolle, great writer. I highly recommend you to read The Power of Now. It's one of his most impressive works, but he has many very interesting resources, many interesting books, and also some YouTube lectures. I highly recommend you to follow him, because he teaches you some very powerful and simple, funny techniques how you can implement that, being in the moment, being present in the moment, actively listening to what the other person has to say. One of his techniques, very simple exercises, to just brush your teeth, or doing everyday chores, or just pinching yourself. And while you're doing all these things is really feeling sensorically what is happening to you while you're brushing your teeth. Observe yourself while you're doing this, like, how do I look like? How does this sound? How does this feel like? Like actively like brushing your teeth, and not just doing your automatisms without thinking about them, just performing them and delivering them. No, actively just thinking and going through every little step of the procedure, understanding what step leads to the next step, right? All these little things, these little procedures of getting them consciously into your system helps you tremendously to focus, to be in the now, to be present. Just sit down with yourself and pinch yourself. Observe yourself. How does this feel? Where does this start? Where do I feel all that? Go through your hair. Look at yourself actively. Perceive yourself as a human being. Be present in this very moment. Understand how you look like, how you sound like, how you move like. What are the procedures? What are the movements? All these little processes are super, super helpful once you return them, once you resurface them to your active condition instead of just being that subconscious automatism that you just deliver every day. Make your routines active, make them present to you, make them understandable to you, and kind of dissect them, how they look, because it makes it easier for you to extend your attention span, to kind of stretch the way how you perceive a certain moment, because usually we check out after a couple of seconds. In every conversation, we check out and then we come back, and then we check out and we come back. And sometimes we kind of miss out on something, then we kind of ask what the person just said. And these little exercises, they will help you to check out less, to be less on the train, staying on that train of focus, on that line. Another great way of exercising this, also described by Eckhart Tolle in his book, The Power of Now, is to think actively, to kind of think what the next thought will be. I'm just wondering, what will be my next thought? And just waiting for that thought to pop up, to just happen, without forcing or preconceiving any thought. Just asking yourself, oh, I wonder what my next thought will be. What will happen next? And just waiting for that. Even if it's a couple of seconds, even if it feels a bit, weird and uncomfortable, but that's a great way also to calm yourself down again and listening exactly to what the thought is. So exercise this over and over again, and you will see that you will start to value the moment that you are living right now and what is happening right now and what the counterpart has to say right now way more than what will come next. And subsequently, the result of that will be that you put everything you got in every moment that you are playing and displaying, and not waiting for a preconceived moment. I will do something great in the next moment. This I will play in a great way in a couple of seconds. No, don't wait for that moment. Create the moment now. Now it's time to create. Now it's time to play. So put everything you got in every basket that you got, and no holds barred. Don't hold back. Don't overvalue the next moment. Be focused on what is happening right now, because otherwise you're devaluating what your gift to the audience is. And that is surprise, and that is authenticity, and that is the magnitude of your passion, of your fire bundle. Don't let your fire bundle go out because everybody is distracting you. You need to be the singularity that distracts the others, not the other way around. Anapanasati, how the Indian Buddhists like to say. Everything goes on in this very instant, in this very moment. No future, no past. Actively listening to what your heart has to say and following on that and nothing else. Okay guys, thank you so much for sticking with us till the end. Entertainers, comedians, performers, all of you beautiful, crazy, creative people out there. It was such a blast of sharing this with you. I mean, let's get greater, better, faster, and further. Let's go the furthest all together. Let's stay a creative and crazy collective, full of energy, full of passion, full of stories to tell, full of great things to share with the audience, because that's what we need to do. We need to inspire our audiences and inspire ourselves in the process as well, and learn as much as we can. Actively listening to what the counterpart has to say is one big chunk, is one big column of a successful and great acting performance. So let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this. Smash the like button if you thought that this video had any value to you. Jump to my Instagram account. It's the COACHMC. Got a lot of nice adventures going on there too. I also recommend you to jump to my website. It's the coachmc.studio, and just write me. Just contact me. Let's have a Skype session, like a free trial lesson where we get to know each other. And if you need a self-tape, a monologue, if you want to shoot something amazing, if you want to talk about your last performance, if you want to have a great conversation with with a coach about your future plans and might, you know, decide what to do with your career, with your craft. If there's anything you want to improve, your speech patterns, your breathing patterns, your mindset, your approach to the audition process, whatever it is, just email me. Just write me something nice. Hey, the Coach MC, how you doing? Let's do something crazy together. Yes, I'm your man. Let's do that. Definitely. Subscribe to the channel. It makes the whole thing a worthy endeavor. And see you next time, guys. Thank you so much again for your attention. It was a blast doing this. I guess now you're ready to perform. You're ready to perform, right?